My name is Teresita Blanco Diaz's sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Loki. This is chapter 10, part 2. If you want to go see him so much, go find him yourself. You're a grown woman, or do you need me to hold your hand? Asked Ingrid. Fine, I'll go by myself, said Alida, leaving the dining area. Good, said Ingrid, raising her voice. And she then mumbled. How annoying. A door opened slightly adjacent to the kitchen, and a tall man clad in opal armor said to Ingrid, You're welcome to return home any time. I would, but I'm a bit curious to see how everything unfolds, said Ingrid. In this, you are the same as our beloved queen, said the trollman. Watch it that mother doesn't hear you that you have called her a gossiper, said Ingrid, smiling. My apologies, said the trollman, closing the door. Noon came, and with much disappointment for Alida. She had failed to find Loki at the market, and she returned home knowing that he was not one to miss dinner. And again, Ingrid was there to tell her that Loki had not returned. As for Loki, he had indeed spent his time in the markets, though most of the shops were not in obvious location, and the home of the dragon rider had both a surface and an underground level, and the underground was where the dragons had their piles, and the occasionally traded stuff with visitors, and there were 35 large caves in total, with tunnels made by ancient running water. And each cave accommodated one matriarch dragon and her brood, and male dragons usually live in higher up in the mountains, in long draconic made caves. And among the chromatic dragons there was always more males than females, and this pattern was also common among the feral dragons, and since competition for mate was fierce, the female dragons tended to have most stuff, and the first draconic horde that Loki visited was the one managed by Melusine. And Melusine was not a dragon, rather a water nymph, though she often claimed she was a mermaid. And mermaids were not true species in Saturnastra, rather a name used by otherworldly humanoids who lived in the north. And unlike Loki, they were permanent caretakers who focused on growing and expanding the marine life of the world. As the dragon rider of Sephardi, Melusine managed her mount stuff whenever her owner was away, and she rewarded Loki with a cool indifference as he approached. Loki said to her, I wish to trade for stuff. What sort of stuff? Asked Melusine. I don't know. What do you have to trade? Asked Loki. Everything, said Melusine, starting to lose her patience. Loki sat a moment, and then he reached into his head and he brought out a rug featuring embroidered flowers. Melusine shook her head, and then he showed a sword made of silver, and Loki then brought out but Melusine declined the offer. And it was then when Loki narrowed it down to silver jewelry and pure silver bars, and the mountain was a pour in silver, and it was a mineral that Sephardi wanted to acquire. And in exchange of silver, Loki acquired blue cyassite and aquamarine pectolite, and in other stones he traded for other stones that were considered common in the mountains, like red beryl chianites, tapherites, and black opals. And these stones were uncommon in his home, and Loki's father had been desiring to acquire some specimens to see how well they took to magical experimentations. As with the other natural processes, stones reacted to magic in many different ways. And the way they reacted to magic was sometimes a bit counterintuitive, and diamonds did not work well for wind magic or light magic, and emeralds were terrible for nature spells, and among his other purchases, he also acquired literature and trinkets that were not native to his world, and since the dragons tunneled deep, from time to time they ran into items that were not made by the locals. And during his wanderings, he saw Princess Homa running about the cave, holding her fish necklace. And she hid in a corner and waited, and seconds later some dragonlings passed by looking for her. And once they passed, she changed location and hid behind Loki's cloak. And ignoring him, she said to her fish necklace, Be quiet and don't move a muscle, lest they find us. A little girl ran past and said to Homa, I see you, now you have to hide. Coming out, Homa said, Fine, but don't scare me again. It was not my idea to scare you, said the other girl. Loki then said, Maybe you should take out your games outside. People tend to look scarier in dark corners. I suppose so, said Homa thoughtfully. Homa started the party when Loki asked her, Can I trade you something for your fish pendant? It's not for sale, said Homa. Where can I get one of those? Asked Loki. I don't know. I just found it in one of the temples during an excavation, and the dragons are still clearing the rubble in there and finding all sorts of odd trinkets. You can dig there if you like, but just be careful cause there are cave-ins, and be careful not to cause an avalanche. People get hurt when that happens, explained Homa. I promise to be careful, said Loki. Homa started to walk away, but she stopped and she ran back. I ran into Hebora some time ago, and he said the snake lady was looking for you. Great, said Loki without enthusiasm. Are you hiding from her? Are you playing hide and seek? Asked Homer. I'm not so much as hiding as avoiding her, and it's not so much as playing as I am very serious about not seeing her at the moment, and if her mood continues as such, I might avoid her again tomorrow, and tomorrow, till she cools down, explained Loki. Why are you hiding from her? Is she mad at you or something? Asked Homer. Not at first, but she will be mad at me later, said Loki. Oh, she wants to talk about that, said Homer, pretending to understand. How very perceptive of you, said Loki, clapping. Time?
9 minutes, 30 seconds.
Well, I am the all-wise, powerful ruler of Sibida, said Homer, flapping her long sleeves. Look, you can't avoid her forever. Just talk to her and have a peace offering ready for her to quell her anger somewhat. The gift should not be something heavy in case she decides to use it as a blunt weapon. I'm not too concerned in that department, said Loki coolly. Homer raised her little fish pendant to her ear, and then she giggled at its response. And more than ever, Loki was curious about the pendant. According to his database, it was an object that required extreme close examination, and Loki then made a mental note to see the other object that was like it, that was behind the throne. And close to sunset, Loki made his way out of the market back into the human habitat, and he sat there and waited for Alida in order to take his poison and be done with the issue once and for all. And a thick fog started to fall on the mountain, and in a matter of minutes, one could not see beyond one's hand. And whenever this occurred, the locals used to close up shop. Flying to the city with low visibility was a health hazard. And the sound started to die down, and even ripples of the lake became still. And after a couple of minutes of insupportable silence, Loki heard the sound of copper coins. Time, bro?
7 minutes, 30 seconds.
Oh, Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Alida had then sewed into her hands her dress in a fashion that made them dangle, and with each movement she made a dull sound that reminded Loki of a jar of pennies. And without realizing, Alida slithered past Loki, and in a low voice he said, "Hey, God, gee!" screamed Alida. And then turning back, she saw the dark silhouette casted by Loki. "Don't scare me like that. I'm over here," said Loki. And Alida was talking to a dark shadow at the other side of the road, and shivering, she crossed the road and quickly joined Loki. And the bear saw the stranger continuing on his walk, and before the fog swallowed him, and despite the ground being covered in cobblestone, not a single sound was heard from his footsteps. "Do you think that was a ghost?" asked Alida. "Do you see ghosts on a regular basis?" inquired Loki. "No," said Alida, "but there's a first time for everything." "I see," said Loki. "Do you see ghosts?" asked Alida. "Is that a bad thing?" asked Loki. "It usually is," said Alida. Loki narrowed his eyes, but only for a slight moment, and when Alida turned to look at him, he smiled again and said, "I do not see ghosts." An hour's silence fell upon them, and a strange creature lurked near them, growing ever closer, and it frowned on his spot, and then moved slightly away, and then Loki gulped, and stoically ignoring the creature, he clearly saw through his hair. Loki then said to Alida, "So what did you want to talk about?" Alida was quiet for a moment, and she was about to say something completely unrelated when Loki returned to her by adding, "I'm not the sort of person to enjoy other people's roundaboutness. Tell me what you want, or else I will be on my way." Time?
6 minutes.
Alida shifted uncomfortably, coiling and coiling and coiling. Eventually she said, "What's there to say? You already know." "I already know what?" asked Loki, jabbing at her. Biting her lower lip, Alida said, "That I will like you." "What a bother," answered Loki. He added, seeing Alida making a strange grimace, "You aren't going to cry, are you?" Alida took a deep sigh, and then she said, "Can we just talk about this like adults?" "No, not really. I had this conversation far too many times, and unlike you, I am not one to repeat myself," said Loki. "No, you haven't," said Alida. "Well, you caught me here, there, sweet pea," said Loki caught his words short, and even though he had plenty more to say. Guessing this, Alida said, "Well, say it. I know what you're thinking, and I make terrible company, don't I? And I haven't done much of anything to earn your affections." Loki clapped, seemingly impressed at Alida's guessing skills, and he started to notice her body acquiring more reptile features, and her body was slimming down some more, and Loki always suspected that animals were more perceptive of human moods, but he had never interacted with a talking animal to see if his suspicions were so. Alida said this and many other things that Loki failed to listen to, and his mind had wandered in tangent, and he was rummaging through his mind thinking about talking animals. And Alida herself had no magic, though her body was magical, and had come into the existence through magical means. And eventually Alida bit Loki in the face, and frowning Loki said, "Ah, what's your problem? Relax, my fangs were retracted," said Alida, and her face returned into her usual form, and she seemed a bit more relaxed now that she had vented her frustrations at the wall that went by the name of Loki. And together they returned to the house on the stairs they were staying at, and Alida had finally come to terms with Loki's indifference, though she was still insistent on earning his affections. Time, bro?
You get 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Before the winter snow, Loki and Ingrid had finally set on their journey, and after studying the map, Ingrid had concluded that the travel path had been most inefficient, and they could have easily visited the giants first, followed by the town of Little Sofia. And officially they had been more than half a year out on the road with Alida, and one day when Loki had left them to run an errand, Alida went to Ingrid and asked, "What do you know of Loki?" "I know as much as he cares to reveal," explained Ingrid. "So nothing," pouted Alida. "Precisely. If you are curious about it, one of the trolls knows a guy who can dig up whatever information you want on any fellow," said Ingrid. "And he used to work for the king, but he had fallen into disfavor with the new ruler, so now he employs his talents outside the court." The following day, Alida met with Guy, and the fellow was nothing special, medium height, brown eyes, and short black hair, and he was neither thin nor muscular, and his face was neither pretty nor ugly, and even though he was clean-shaven, his face was growing a 5 o'clock shadow, and if there was anything exemplary about him was his groomed nails, though upon closer inspection, Alida noticed that they had been bitten off, and Guy always had the bad habit of biting his nails till they were short, and his attire was as bland as his appearance, and wrapped in his black traveling coat, the only thing of interest about him was his dull brown hat with a red feather and a gardenia tied to it. Since Alida was not speaking, Guy said, "I understand you wish to know about Master Loki." "Master? Don't you mean sir?" asked Alida. "He prefers master, not with slavish connotation, rather wizards in this world are called masters," explained Guy. "I don't remember anyone calling him master, and shouldn't he wear robes if he wished to pretend to be a magic user?" asked Alida. "Before we continue, I must ask for my payment," insisted Guy. "What sort of currency do you take?" asked Alida, itching to get rid of most of her useless coins. "These days it is far more reliable to own stuff than currency," said Guy, folding his arms beneath the covers of his black travel coat. "I don't have a lot of stuff, just some rubies and crushed lapis lazuli," said Alida. "I haven't any interest in some trivial matters, and a guy in my line of work prefers information over physical items," said Guy. "But you can't eat information, can you?" asked Alida, guessing the direction that the conversation was taking. "That is my problem, not yours," said Guy, "though my payment must come first, and depending on its quality is how much I am willing to offer you." "Doesn't seem fair, but I don't have much of a choice," said Alida. For the following couple of days, Alida answered far too many personal questions about herself and whatever person she ran into, and eventually Guy's question moved away from her uneventful life and focused more on the working of her last circus master, and she felt a bit offended by Guy's sudden lack of interest in her, and her entire life could be summarized in a single sentence. Alida was a circus freak, and she was neither heroic nor a tragic figure with a steady career of performances all over her continent and never getting close to any living thing. And at the end of her tale, Guy's face for the first time showed a different expression that was neither mild amusement or bored sarcasm. Time, bro?
Less than a minute, actually.
Alright. And when his tone was changing, Guy's massive indifference dropped, and for a second he said, "From one shade to another, I suggest you forget about Loki." Alright, we'll leave it here. Bye-bye and God bless.